Okay, so I've had some thoughts about Wind and Truth. I'm not sure if people are going to agree or disagree, but I'm seeing a lot of people having similar thoughts. You know how people talk about the Wheel of Time and how it has the slog or the slump in its books 7, 8, 9, and 10? I mean, for me, book 9 is the end of the slump, but it's neither here or there. But if we take books 1 to 5 of the Stormlight Archive, book 3 is the middle book. It is literally the middle book. 3 is the middle of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for me, Oathbringer is the more iconic of the 5 books. Like, if I hadn't read, a lot of my favourite events occur in book 3. Book 4, Rhythm of War, it serves its purpose as a penultimate book for the arc. And book 1 will always hold a special place in my heart. I think I can honestly say if I hadn't read The Way of Kings, I don't think I'd be standing here in my kitchen talking into my phone right now. Words of Radiance, I'm happy to read. If I had to put it into an order in terms of preference for reading, I'd say Oathbringer is my favourite out of the books. Then it's Way of Kings, then it's Words of Radiance, then Wind and Truth, and then Rhythm of War. That's my ranking. But with Wind and Truth, because we know that this is the end of the first arc of the Stormlight Archive, I wonder if my feelings about Wind and Truth are actually more the result of middle book syndrome. Because if the series is going to be 10 books, then this would be, well, in the middle of the series, really. Don't get me wrong, I loved seeing Shinovar, and I'm hoping to see more of it in books 6 to 10. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens after the time skip. But it felt like a lot of the information that we got in Wind and Truth, trying to be as spoiler-free as possible, particularly relating to how Roshar was prior to humans seeking refuge on Roshar. I feel like that could have been a lot earlier, when we start learning more about the listeners, the singers, the fused. I feel like some of it could have we could have been introduced to it slightly earlier. And by slightly, I mean Rhythm of War. Because that book is all about the listeners, it's all about Venli and the Will Shapers. It's about them breaking away from Odium and finding their finding a place to be safe. And reading it as well, I finished it a week ago, and it occurred to me that actually there's a lot that I forgot about the Cosmere. A lot of things that I feel like there's no doubt that Wind and Truth is going to have huge ramifications. That ending, beautiful. It's going to have huge ramifications on the greater Cosmere, and I'm looking forward to future series, but I'm starting to feel a bit like it's the MCU all over again. I loved Endgame. I thought that was a fun movie, but I felt like I could have gone a year without Marvel and nothing would have changed. I'm not saying I want a year without Sanderson. I'm saying, okay, so we are just beginning with the Cosmere. It's been, 20-something years since he started writing the Cosmere, and I've read pretty much everything in the Cosmere, and it feels like we haven't even scratched the surface, which is great. It's a bit Discworld to me. It's just a big universe, and there happen to be stories taking place in it. I can't wait for Mistborn Era 3, but I am starting to feel like I have to do homework around each book now. So, yeah, is anyone else feeling like we are entering a bit of a Stormlight slump? I mean, I do have positive feelings about Wind and Truth. I don't want to be typical negative person, but I don't know. I feel like because Rhythm of War was hyped up towards the end of 2020, like it became a bit of a joke that that was the only thing that was holding that hellscape of a year together. And I mean, my 2024 has been decent, I want to say. Like, Wind and Truth wasn't holding it together for me, but I do feel a bit like I was expecting a final book, and I got a middle book, and I'm trying to manage my expectations within those limitations. Make sense? Thoughts?